one of the main things that I try to do is not believe what my five senses are necessarily telling me, and start to kind of close your eyes and turn off the sound.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Elizabeth, and I am joined today by a pretty remarkable man who I'm excited to learn more about. His name is Joshua Dawson, and he's the founder of I Am Genie. He's also bringing some remarkable speakers around the world, and in particular to BC Interior, he's bringing Caroline Myss this coming April the 2nd. So we are excited to hear about that, and we are excited to learn about this man who's bringing her and who brings some pretty remarkable stuff to people in the world. So thank you so much, Joshua, for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I want to dive right into your story. How did you get on this path of a little bit outside the grain, a little bit of a different thinker, and somebody who grants wishes for people?
I guess the basic answer is I started to, well, I've always followed my intuition or my heart or where that guided me. And before my father passed, when he was only 53 years old, that was guided me in a totally different direction than where that intuition started to guide me after he passed. So beforehand, I was very egotistical, interested in money, having a successful business, all the, potential or hoped for perks of all that. And then when I saw my father pass, I realized that none of that stuff really mattered, and that even you don't even have ownership of your body, because when you pass, it kind of your spirit leaves you. And I had no spiritual real teachings other than religion, and I got all my teachings through a real world experience of seeing the first death that I had ever seen was my father's death. So I walked into the room where he passed and realized that that wasn't him anymore, and that he had left, and I wanted to know where. So at the funeral, I had a spiritual experience where I just felt every type of emotion at the same time, and it felt like my father saying hello for the first time. And then I went searching for that, more of that. So that took me on a journey where I kind of, everything was topsy-turvy for a couple of years. I started drinking more heavily, didn't know who I was, what I was meant to do. And one day the idea came to me that I could dress up like a blue genie and grant wishes. And if you asked me 1,000 times how that idea came to me, I could give you 1,000 different answers. But the basic answer is I have no idea where it came from. And it just overtook my desire, and within a month I had a genie costume created, and Ingrid and I had started to travel around North America granting wishes for people in need. I assumed it was going to be like a trip from Montreal and Miami, and that would be my way of giving back to my father and connecting with my father, really. But it's one of those things that once it gets a hold of you, there's no turning back. So I've been granting wishes ever since, and Ingrid and I were on the road for 7 years, and now we just recently moved to Galliano Island, and we've been living there for a while, but we're still on the road for at least half the year doing what we do now, which is granting wishes and also hosting inspirational events with people like Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer before he passed, and now upcoming Caroline Myss in Eugene, Kelowna, and Ottawa. So that's a nice long-winded answer to a short question.
Thank you. And it must have been a very difficult time when your father passed away at such a young age, and a young age for you. And I can see how that guided you into more introspection and thought. It often happens for people that I speak with and that I hear about, is that something big happens to redirect their lives. And it sounds like that's what happened to you.
Yeah, it was definitely a turning point. It made me, I think a lot of us, we don't realize who we are. At an early age, we're told to be this or that, or, male and female, and you're good at that, so you do that, or I want you to be good at this, so I'm going to put you in these things. To these activities to do. And then there's a point in everyone's life where they realize that they aren't any of those masks or those things that they were told that they were. And some people are lucky enough to find that out at an earlier age, like myself, and some people had to wait until moments before they pass. So I feel very fortunate that my father passed when he did, and I look at it as the worst and best day of my life.
And now you're bringing miracles and healing to people around the world through what you do, which is incredible. And I love hearing that you just thought of the idea, but you don't know why, or you have lots of reasons. And
Yeah,
sometimes ideas come from spirit.
yeah, I think that this one definitely came from spirit. I had never imagined I was going to dress up as a blue genie and travel around and grant wishes ever in my entire life until
Yeah.
that idea came to me. So it was definitely out of left field. Although I've always loved superheroes, and you know, I've always enjoyed giving and surprising people. So it was kind of a culmination of a lot of curiosities rolled up into one.
A natural part of who you are. So I Am Genie, is that a foundation that people can get involved in or contribute to?
Yeah, you can go to imgenie.org. We get a lot of volunteers. We don't usually request any donations from people. All of our revenue comes from the events that we host, and that allows us to do everything that we do.
Oh, I see. Tell me an example of some of the wishes that you've granted.
Wishes are a very interesting thing because they're like personalities. They can range from someone that loves going to a spa to another person that wants to meet a famous person to another person who needs money because they're in hardship. So we've granted some of the more recent ones where we granted 30 wishes in 3 days in Los Angeles for a family dealing with cancer, and they got to go to LA Kings or no, LA Clippers game and meet all the players and practice with them. And we helped the daughter kind of have a singing experience at Michael Jackson's studio, and a whole bunch of other interesting things around that experience. And then most recently, we did a thing with the LA Kings and allowed this couple that have worked for the franchise for like 20 years be a king for a day. So that was a lot of fun. So we do, and then we do with various wish grants at our events. So we do as much as we can, but really it's just Ingrid and myself and a bunch, and this lady Paige and a bunch of volunteers. So whenever we get an opportunity to grant a wish, then we do, but it's definitely a grassroots type of thing.
Well, thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate it when I hear about people doing amazing things in the world, especially young people like you who are going outside the norm and outside the box of what a normal path of life might be. So thank you.
Yeah, I think normal is definitely overrated.
It really is. I heard it said by somebody once, be uncomfortable with normal. And I like that a lot.
With abnormal, yes.
Yeah.
be comfortable with abnormal. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Be uncomfortable in mediocrity, like rise above that and do things like what you're doing. It's quite remarkable.
I think we're all naturally uncomfortable with normal, and that's where boredom comes from. And a lot of us are quite bored. So yeah, whenever you're bored, do something new.
Yeah. And do something for other people, like what you're doing. It can really break you free. And
Yeah.
you also are bringing spiritual leaders to different communities. And you mentioned that's how you raise the funds for the I Am Genie, which is really cool. So let's talk a little bit about the events that you host.
Well, we've hosted the very first event that we ever hosted. We had never planned to go down this road, just like I had never planned to become a genie, which has been the recurring theme in this story. We were going to grant a wish for someone. I started reading spiritual books, actually, to take a step back. Ingrid introduced me to a book by Wayne Dyer, and it was one of the first spiritual books I ever read, called Inspiration. And I just felt really connected to Wayne Dyer. I felt like I was just going to meet him. It was one of those kind of moments. And then an opportunity came up where we were going to grant a wish for someone in Detroit. Wayne was coming home for where he's kind of from in Detroit for an event, and they were going to get to meet Wayne and go to his event and all that stuff. So it got canceled at the last moment, which never happened with any of our wish grants. So I was wondering, why did I have this feeling like we were going to meet and all that stuff. So I reached out to the Hay House PR team. They put me in touch with his manager, and I asked if he'd like to come to Newfoundland, just kind of like a spur of the moment thing, which is where I'm from, St. John's, Newfoundland. And within like 3 or 4 months, he basically said yes, which was very unusual because we had never done any events. And he only really worked with one or two different people for events around the world. So it kind of came about really quickly. It was one of those meant to happen type things. And I got along great with Wayne. We spent 6 days in Newfoundland and had a wonderful time, and we became friends through that. And then through that, Wayne put us in touch with people like Deepak, and then Deepak put us in touch with other people. So it just kind of, you know, snowballed, and we just went with the flow of that. And now we're after producing events with people, with Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Eckhart Tolle, Marion Williamson, Gabrielle Bernstein, Caroline Myss, Jack Canfield, and some others that I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Wonderful. And you have Caroline Myss coming up very soon. So it is an evening of healing. What is that going to be all about for people?
Well, I think that I had an opportunity to chat with Caroline on Skype recently, and it's one of the first people I've ever talked to where they actually I teared up just from the conversation. There was no specific reason why I teared up. It was just kind of like felt like a bit of a healing just being in her presence. So I think it's a lot of that's people's stuff is going to come up. She really kind of pushes you, from what I could tell from the conversation that we had. She pointed out some parts of my ego that I didn't realize that I had very quickly. She kind of intuitively do this. And it's just going to be a night where she helps you reconnect with your realist self that you may have forgot that is, and allow the healing to take place from that place of spirit, really. So she's gonna take you through a lot more organized than what I just explained right there then. But that's what I think is going to happen from just the brief conversations. But she's very free flowing, and she's kind of going to go through the anatomy of spirit in her own way. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, she's a wonderful author and a brilliant woman, and I love how she's very down to earth and she just cuts right to the truth.
Yeah, there's no bullshit with her at all.
It's true.
Which I totally love that, and I appreciate that. But some people need to have the hard truth sometimes, and I think that's the type of audience members that she attracts. So we're at an event here. I'm in Eugene right now, and that's our first stop. Actually, just outside Eugene in Corvallis, and then we head to Cologne, and 2 days later, we're in Ottawa, and then it's on to the next thing.
Wonderful. It sounds like a wonderful tour that will be bringing some truth and healing to people, and some funds raised for your I Am Genie and the work that you do there. So it is a perfect circle of giving. So wonderful.
Yeah, the circle of life, circle of love. But I find love is always, it always accomplishes more than just one thing, and it's very inclusive. So these events definitely do that.
It's what we always come back to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I wonder if there's anything you'd like to leave our viewers with. Sometimes people might not be able to come out and attend the events, but what can our viewers learn from you today, perhaps about trusting your intuition or something that you've experienced in life that they might use today?
I think one of the main things that I try to do is not believe what my five senses are necessarily telling me, and start to kind of close your eyes and turn off the sound, and get rid of some of the things that you believe as 100% truth, and try to just feel something from nothing, or feel your heart, or feel the energy flowing through your body, and try to connect more with that nothingness, and allow that to guide your life a little bit more. And there's a lot of ways to do that, and if you're interested in checking out and seeing through some of the illusions that are in your life, then go to imgenie.org, and I'll do like a shameless book plug now, and get my tiny book of magic, and it will help you out, I'm sure. It's only $15.
Perfect.
I wasn't planning on doing a plug, but there you go.
But it's a really natural thing because you have a lot to
Yeah.
share with the world and you do some wonderful things. So I'll also plug that book. And I'll be sure to put the links right below this video. So go click on the link, check out Josh's book, check out the amazing work that he does and the incredible events that him and his partner bring to us. And thank you both for so much for doing what you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And nice to meet you.
Absolutely. Yes, you too. And thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.